Well, Mike, residual income is the eighth wonder of the world. I've been saying that since I've been able to spell residual. I mean, it is. It's just being paid time after time for doing something, right? That's why a lot of people get involved in direct sales, right? But to be able to go into a passive investment, and some people do it through real estate, but I don't know. I've tried the real estate world, and I don't know how passive that really is, because there's a lot that comes with it, right? And when you can leverage yourself with residual passive income, I think you get a win-win situation. And what I love about this is every time I turn on, and I don't care what news station you look at, I don't care if you're a CNN or an MSNBC or Wall Street or Fox News, all you hear about is data, right? Yep. And it's not going to slow down. It is exponentially going. And the big players, as big as they are, the hundreds of billions of dollars that they're spending, still can't keep up with it because of the growth factor. Think about our cell phones. Used to have like, I don't know, I'm going to mess up the numbers, but it was like 10 megs. And now it's gigabytes that you do, right? You know what I'm saying? It's exponentially gone crazy on what we can store on our phones versus 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. If you had 100 pictures on your phone, it was blocked. You couldn't do anymore. Now, I think I just checked. I have 5,800 pictures. 5,800. That's ridiculous. I have over 27,000 names, contacts in my cell phone. Now, it's absolutely amazing. Something that we do on that is my backup, right? I constantly am expanding my cloud ability because it just gets big and I go, oh, I better do this. I better do more. I better do more. I better do more. Well, the same thing's happening for every business that has data, because the government says, let's use financial or medical, has to be held for 7 years. Now,
I didn't know that. That's actually a really good point. You're the first person has pointed out on any of my podcasts as far as data storage. Keep going with that.
Well, listen, I don't care if you're selling real estate or you're selling financial things or you're taking care of somebody medically. 7 years you have to keep that stuff. You have to keep those records. Well, okay, you can either have a room full of files or you put it on your data. You digitally store it. That's the way to do it. So hospitals are growing. Lee Hospital, down where I'm at, right? Well, that's actually a little bit north, but that's where I went a lot of time when I was in Fort Myers. They actually have 2 data centers outside of the hospital for all the data that they have. And it just keeps growing. So the bottom line is and then now AI is, making the storage thing exponentially go again. And all the experts are saying it. Mr. Wonderful, he's investing in it like crazy. He's actually made that a part of his portfolio to invest in those things. It's just, you got to follow the clues. And the clues are that if Intel and Dell and everybody else and all the big players are investing heavily in data storage, why don't we just go out and get our piece of the pie? And Mike, when you explained it to me, but somebody had already shared this with me from an owner that's doing something like this. And I went, but you actually broke it down. And then I did my research and I went, my goodness, you mean I can actually get involved in this thing? I don't have $1 billion. I've got a lot of money, quote unquote, supposedly by the statistics of what people have money with, but I don't have $1 billion. I'm not going to build my own data, facility, but I can have my data storage and you can get going for, we just bought a used car that we could have bought 2 data storage, a used car, like a 2021 Honda. We could have bought 2 data storage things. And all the Honda's going to do is go down for one of our college students, right? but the data storage pay you residual. That's that passive income.
Like when I
get-
first saw this too, I started laughing. I'm like, wait a second, because you mentioned Intel a minute ago.
Yeah.
There's the largest Intel plant in the world is being built 6 miles up the street from me.
Wow.
Here in Columbus, outside of it, you can look it up. It was, president's been here, news has been here, whole 9 yards. They're showing all these data centers are being blown up around here. And it was, to me, is like, when I heard about this, I'm like, well, I know what data centers are. I see them every day as I drive around town here. And then when I found out that we could get in like kind of the beginner units that you can purchase are like 15 grand, but these things are potentially going to be paying out on, because people are storing their data on them, between like $1,000 and $4,000 a month for like a 5-year lifespan. To me is insane. I mean, just like you said, it's like I started thinking after, so that was the initial shock of hearing that. But then just like you said about the car, I'm like, I'm probably going to go buy another car. But I was like, I'm not going to go buy another car. I'm going to go buy another unit, and that car is going to pay for it. Back to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, cash flow quadrant, finding assets to pay for stuff.
Pay for your doodads.
What's that?
Pay for your doodads.
Pay for your doodads.
That's what he calls them, doodads. Anything that's not making you money is a doodad.
It is an absolute doodad, liability doodad. Where do you see,